Well, ladies and gentlemen, academic colleagues, good afternoon. My name is Maxine McHugh and it's my very great pleasure to be your host, your MC for today's launch of the Melbourne Disability Institute.
I'm absolutely delighted that this university will be home to this new interdisciplinary research institute, and it's an honour to now officially declare launched the Melbourne Disability Institute. Thank you.
I'm honoured and humbled to be standing here today as the Executive Chair and Director of the Melbourne Disability Institute. Our purpose is broad. It is for and with all people with disability, their families and carers. We will co-design and co-produce with the disability sector. Our capacity and resources will be aligned to advance the comprehensive goals of the National Disability Strategy: inclusive and accessible community, rights, protection and justice, economic security, personal and community support, learning and skills, and health and well-being. We're also aligning our research activities with Australia's commitments under the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, or UNCPRD, and the National Disability Insurance Scheme Act of 2013. Together, the UNCPRD, NDIS and National Disability Strategy are creating the potential for a very different future for people with disability, their families and carers. The NDIS is the most significant social and economic policy reform since the introduction of the original Medicare scheme in the 1970s. In many ways, the biggest and most significant change from the NDIS is not the insurance framework, or control and choice, or building inclusion and capacity through local area coordination. The biggest change is that Australia is building the best whole of population and longitudinal disability database in the world, with the potential to link this data set to other relevant data from education, employment, health and justice. Data provides the potential to compare forecasts with experience, to regularly monitor and check progress, to analyse, to learn, to correct policy settings and practices, to transform the lives of people with disability.
The smallest of acts can create the largest of impacts. And that's the reason I'm here today. We don't just fight for funding for supports and services, we fight to catch cabs, we fight to catch planes. We fight to get diagnosed, we fight for medical, we fight, parents fight, and we are sick of the fight. We need an army of hope givers and head nodders. And I truly believe, finally, that the Melbourne Disability Institute will let us all breathe out a sigh of relief so we can go on and just lead great, amazing lives. The 20% of us Australians with our tribe. I truly believe that when you finally count us and finally see us, you will start to see us in every part of Australia. You will start to see us behind desks working. You will start to see us in labs. You will start to see us everywhere leading our best lives. But the Carney Liddells and the Terry Liddells of the world are very tired. And I thank you, Bruce Bonner-Haedy, and everyone else involved in this institute, because I am ready for the next phase of our lives to not have to fight so hard anymore. Thank you.
I've had a great time in my career, which I'm truly grateful for. But it took me until I was 55 years old, which is only 2 days ago, by the way, to get the job that I really wanted. And so here I am with a new chair in disability and health, generously funded through the Leary bequest, and academic director of the Melbourne Disability Institute, working with Bruce as director. And here I am in a position to use my skills to help the situation for my people with disabilities, their families and carers. I'm a medical practitioner and an epidemiologist, and I've devoted a large part of my research career to understanding the social, economic and political drivers of health and well-being, to trying to create evidence that might make our world just a bit fairer. My lived experience of disability met my professional expertise. My experiences with the disability sector showed just how disadvantaged people with disabilities are. And so my own research now concentrates on finding out how we can turn around that disadvantage that people with disabilities and their families encounter and promote their health and well-being. Our team's research shows how employment, quality work, affordable and accessible housing, social support, access to transport, education and freedom from discrimination promote health for people with disability. But there remains a fundamental problem which hampers our research. Our methods are cutting edge, but the data is not up to scratch. Measuring disability is difficult and contested. And as Bruce has described, we don't have good longitudinal data yet that can help us evaluate the impacts of policies and programs and make evidence-based policy decisions for the future. We are likely to be able to get linked up census, administrative data on health, social services, education and employment in the near future, and hopefully sometime soon NDIS data will form part of a very rich database that we can interrogate to answer real-world, wicked problems that face the sector today. I believe that as academics we have a responsibility to seek the perspectives of multiple disciplines, sectors and actors, most importantly people with disabilities, about the data we count and how we count it. That is why we must and will reach out to those from whom the data is collected. And as actors independent of government, we are in a unique position to do this. Sticking to the data theme, at the Institute we also recognise that what counts as data cannot always be counted. I'll say that again. What counts as data cannot always be counted. To base evidence only on countable data misses a lot. Qualitative data collected from all actors in the sector, particularly people with disabilities and their families, is critical. Policy analysis is central. Engineering, smart technologies can unleash new possibilities. Legal research that enables people with disabilities to realise their rights are just some examples of the way in which many different types of data can be deployed. And that's where the beauty of an interdisciplinary institute comes to life, at the intersections of disciplines and perspectives that enable new ways of knowing.